The Great American Songbook would be absolutely incomplete without the venerable Oscar Hammerstein. The lyricist and playwright collaborated with numerous composers such as Jerome Kern on the hit Showboat, but he's perhaps best known for his collaborations with Richard Rodgers. Together, they created American classics, including Oklahoma, Carousel, South Pacific, The King and I, and The Sound of Music. But his work didn't only catch the attention of theater lovers and music lovers around the world. His political activism, and this might surprise you, also caught the eye of then FBI head J. Edgar Hoover, who generated a massive top-secret file on Oscar Hammerstein. Now, his grandson, Oscar Hammerstein III, is revealing everything he knows about his grandfather's life, his activism, those subsequent FBI surveillance files. This all in a new show titled Oscar on Oscar. And here with insight on Oscar Hammerstein is Oscar Hammerstein III. We're so delighted to have you here with us.
My pleasure.
You and I were talking in the makeup room beforehand, and I'm going down that list and saying you could make an argument for every one of those as being the greatest of all Broadway musicals.
I think it depends on what day of the week.
Yeah.
I love Carousel on Monday. I love South Pacific Tuesday and Wednesday. Yeah, it all depends on your state of mind, what you're thinking about.
Yeah, I might vote for South Pacific, just the score
it gets
every
a lot
song.
of votes.
It does indeed. But why is it that you have devoted so much of your life to telling your grandfather's his story, his multi-dimensional story?
Well, what would you do if you came into a room and everybody already had great good wishes for you and good vibes and feelings for you? I'm one of the luckiest people in the world in that the goodwill precedes me wherever I go. And if I talk about Rodgers and Hammerstein or Oscar Hammerstein or my family's history, I am always welcomed wherever I go, whether it's nationally, internationally. It's been a natural calling. Go where you're wanted.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me talk to you a little bit about not his music, because we know so much about his music and his musical genius. I've often said, people toss the word genius around, I think, far too cavalierly. To me, true genius, people who can create music in their minds. I mean, that to me, I think is just. So we know what a genius he was, but I don't think a lot of people know how active he was in social causes. Talk about that.
Okay. Well, he was quoted as saying that a writer gives himself away, who he really is, through the songs that he writes. And Oscar gave himself away in lots of songs that he wrote, whether it was Old Man River or the all-black opera, Carmen Jones, or from South Pacific's You've Got to Be Carefully Taught. He betrayed a certain love for his fellow man, a certain kind of tolerance and kindness that it seeps through all of his shows. Even the farmer and the cowman had to be friends. Mm-hmm. And that's, I think, part of what has drawn me to doing this show, because I feel as if they don't know the man except through his music. And I'm trying to introduce the public to another side of him that people don't often see.
You were telling me an interesting story about his relationship with the legendary Paul Robeson.
Yes.
Paul Robeson, if you know nothing more about him, and plus there's a lot to know, he was an All-American football player at Rutgers, marvelous, talented, Old Man River. And you said Oscar and Paul Robeson had this wonderful sort of brotherly relationship.
Yes.
But sometimes,
they
as
clashed.
Brothers do, would clash.
Let me see if I can remember the lyric. I'll keep on trying until I'm dying. I'm tired of living, I'm scared of dying was the original, and he would change it to, I won't stop fighting, I'll keep on until I'm dying.
When he was sort of traveling around.
When he was traveling around.
His own causes, Paul Robeson.
Correct, and he was a champion of many causes. Committees to end lynching, committees for the United Negro Congress, Southern Children's Congress. Really too many to mention, to be honest with you. The man was a very active fellow. But it has to be said that what he's known the most for on the stage is Old Man River. And I would add about Old Man River that I think Old Man River is perhaps a perfect song. And I'll define it by saying it's one of those songs where you almost forget it was written by somebody. It seems as if to spring naturally from the soul of the character. It's one of those cases where Oscar gets out of the way of the words he was writing. And to that, I always point to that song as something that is a remarkably simple, perfect song.
Yeah. I mentioned in the introduction about J. Edgar Hoover. Now, we've learned since, obviously, the FBI, a marvelous organization, great, hardworking agents, but we've learned about the excesses of J. Edgar Hoover. And we've learned the lesson of power, absolute power. The expression absolute power can corrupt absolutely.
Yes.
Oftentimes people have said that about J. Edgar Hoover. But were you surprised to learn the extent of the file that he had put together about your grandfather?
It runs 99 pages. And what it really seems to be is a record of them tailing Oscar wherever he went, from about 1941 until it peters out in the mid-50s. And in this record, they decide that he's a questionable character, and they backdate it. They go all the way back to Showboat, and to an organization that he co-founded out in Hollywood called the Anti-Nazi League. So,
which you would think that's
which
a wonderful
you would think
organization
is not gonna be
to
a
have in
problem.
place. But as we know, you go back in our history in the 30s, there were pro-Nazi rallies here in Madison Square Garden.
That's
in New York
correct.
City.
That's absolutely correct. And Oscar felt it was incumbent upon himself to tell other writers, to organize other writers, you might say, to propagandize against Nazism. But well, you know, on one side there's the Nazis, and on the other side there's the communists, and you have to thread quite a fine line. You know, you're being reviled by one group and embraced by the other, and J. Edgar Hoover is watching every move you make. So that was the life he sort of lived. But I have to say, he did not behave in any covert way. The patriotic paranoia of the 40s and 50s that followed Stalin and the Maoist nuclear tests and stuff like that, they are what caused the paranoia to occur. But Oscar was very vocal, very public, very honest, was willing to argue it, and believed, I think, if I can go on this run on, is that he believed that whatever happened between a man's ears was his own business. As a writer, he was not so much a liberal or a communist or a capitalist as he was a free thinker. He believed that was your right. You could have capitalist thoughts, you could have communist thoughts, you could have socialist thoughts, you could have any kind of thoughts you want. You were free to have your thoughts. He said this in the Authors League and the Dramatists League. He championed the right to be free of authoritarianism and totalitarianism.
And the fear of the thought police.
Exactly.
Obviously. Let me talk about the show
Sure.
that you're doing. How did it come about? How does it play out? And what do you want folks to walk away from with it?
Well, I've been going around the country for decades now doing shows because people love me in advance, which basically starts with, oh, what a beautiful morning, and ends up with Climb Every Mountain. And I've been doing this for a long time. It's a warm bath of nostalgia. But I wanted to do something different. I wanted something a little edgier, a little New York, something that would show a little edge to Oscar. I also felt at this time that this might be a very good time to bring Oscar out as an unapologetic liberal and a person who's against fascist impulses that may or may not be in our country today. I'm putting him on the correct side of history in my mind and saying, you know, if you're going to enlist him, this is what you're enlisting him for.
Yeah. So here's his music, but here's the man.
Here's the man.
Here's the man. Here's what he represented. Here's what he did with
Yes.
his life. And the nice thing is you're able to weave some of the music into those stories, which how could you not?
How could you not? From King and I, it's a puzzlement as a absolute ruler begins to question himself. Shall I tell you what I think of you? Which basically is speaking truth to power. You've got to be carefully taught, which is about prejudice. The farmer and the cowman should be friends, which is about overcoming differences in order to unite to fight abroad. That show opened in '43, and that audience was on its way off.
How it still resonates today.
Yes.
Again, the genius
Yes.
of Oscar Hammerstein writing back then, and now we're looking at his music and looking at his thoughts and saying, you know, they're important to us even today.
And also his championing of black causes, of African American causes, was rather notable. One of the ones that I want to leave you with is that he championed the Committee for Equal Justice for Ressie Taylor in 1944 and 1945. He wanted to see her get a fair shake. She never did, but that was a sort of watershed moment in the civil rights era as Rosa Parks took Ressie Taylor's testimony and started a conversation that really wouldn't end until the mid-'60s. And Oscar's dealing with missignation in Showboat, or having written an all-black opera in Carmen Jones. He seemed to feel it was beholden to him to do this job.
Well, he did it marvelously with astonishing music.
I'm proud.
And great thoughts. You should be proud. Oscar, it's a pleasure to meet you. Thank
My
you
pleasure.
so much for spending some time with us.
Thank you very much.
You be well. Good seeing you.
You too.
And a reminder for you folks out there, for more information on Oscar, make sure you visit our website at metrofocus.org.